Hello, I am Geoff Fienberg back here with you again, breaking down Week 13 in the National Football League from a DFS perspective here for oddschecker.com/US. Like, sub, so these videos drop right into your feed, and comment. Tell me who you like this week on the NFL Week 13 DFS slate. Which picks of mine you want to tail, which ones you would like to fade. Last week was one of our better weeks putting these together, and what do you know? Pizza's good. We'll try a different flavor of pizza this time at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, 6,800 on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel. Rodgers has been absolutely terrific all year. No surprises there. Clearly motivated when they had that backup quarterback drafted. He doesn't even need to be a high-volume guy to put up the stats. That's how efficient his passing offense has been. Last week, only 211 passing yards, but we supplemented that with 4 passing touchdowns. He has 13 touchdowns in his last 4 games. The Eagles ranked 11th against the run per DVOA, but come in at 20th against the pass. This could lead to a much heavier pass script for the Packers this week against the Eagles. I believe Rodgers has a big one. Derrick Carr, 5,800 on DraftKings, 7,200 on FanDuel. Carr was awful last week against the Falcons in what appeared to be an advantageous matchup. But you know what gets you right real quick in 2020? A date versus the New York Jets. The Jets, 32nd against the pass per DVOA and are shockingly 8th against the run. They do have a pretty stout front line, to be perfectly honest, in New York. But nobody in the secondary. Absolutely nobody. Josh Jacobs is banged up as of this recording. He had yet to practice this week. I would be pretty shocked if he played. So it could be a Booker, Theo Reddick split, and that will probably lead to more receptions out of the backfield, to be perfectly honest. But it will definitely lead to a more downfield passing game, which was probably already in the script for Gruden versus the Jets this week. Carr provides a good pay down option, which can let you jam in some higher price receivers and running backs this week, and maybe can become a bit of a forgotten entity after such an ugly performance by the Raiders a week ago. It's funny how the league works. They played a great game. They lost to the Chiefs in prime time, and it was a loss that felt like a win essentially to the DFS gambling public. How well you play against the Chiefs sometimes can count as a win in theory. Raiders a little too over their skis versus the Falcons, but obviously big bounce back coming when you're playing the Jets. Moving on to running back, cheap option to start here. Jordan Wilkins, 4,200 in DraftKings. I think all Colts running backs are in play this week. I am leaning Wilkins because I think the game should be totally in the Colts' control. If the Colts can run the ball well, they should be running the ball on every single play. Houston is in the bottom 5 against the run and have given up the second most fantasy points to backs on the year. Hines had a 10-carry, 10-target game last week, but that was in a game they trailed most of the way. I expect them to be up throughout this one. Ball control, Frank Reich style. I believe Jordan Wilkins gets the heavy dose all day and will get us the numbers we crave at this price point and beyond. No surprise here. We're just going back to the well. We make sacrifices as other places on our roster to be able to dress Derrick Henry, 9,200 on DraftKings, 10,000 on FanDuel. Like I said, you just jam Henry in every single week. He is simply too good. He gets too much volume. There really is nothing else to say. He had another 25 carry plus game with 3 touchdowns and even had 4 targets against the Colts. The Browns have given up the 12th most fantasy points to running backs this year. Henry is going to get all the volume. He's going to get all the volume this week. I believe he's another superstar play. Must find a way to put Henry in our lineups. I certainly will be. Along with this, man, that's why we got some pay downs. Devonta Adams, 9,000 on DraftKings, 9,500 on FanDuel, friends. Adams has been an absolute monster when healthy this year. He has scored a touchdown in 4 straight games. He has no fewer than 9 targets in 4 straight games. He will likely see Darius Slay in this matchup, but that doesn't really worry me a ton. Metcalf took Slay to school last week. The Rodgers Adams stack is an expensive one, but I really want to go there. I want to go there. Adams has been dominant. And just a quick note, I think with the no fans, the limited fans, the practically no fans, the pumped in crowd noise, no quarterback is more dominant pre-snap at the line of scrimmage this year than Aaron Rodgers. He's an absolute wizard. When he can make his calls and checks perfectly, him and Adams just see the coverage. Oh, they're dropping 2 safeties. Oh, they're up in the box. Oh, they're playing zone, shading him this way. They see it. Rodgers sees it pre-snap. He's able to direct Adams and what they need to do, and it's literally been pitch and catch. I don't see that stopping. Pay down. Kiki Kuti. Houston Texans, 3,500 on DraftKings, 4,800 on FanDuel. There is pretty much no one left in Houston right now other than Brandon Cooks. Sad to see Fuller get suspended. Randall Cobb is hurt. They had cut Kenny Stills. They have to throw in a game they're likely to be down, in my opinion. As I mentioned, how I feel this one will turn out in my Jalen Wilkins breakdown. Jordan Wilkins, sorry. But Kuti provides a good play down option. The Colts defense is a tough matchup, so it is strictly a volume play. Watson has been absolutely fantastic. I do worry that the loss of Fuller will probably hurt him down the stretch, certainly. But for this week against the Colts, I do believe there's an opportunity that we can take advantage of. Tight ends. Do I ever get them right? I don't know. I mean, last week I think I paid up for Kelsey because pizza's good. So that doesn't count. Tyler Eifert, 3,000 on DraftKings, 4,700 on FanDuel. This year, the tight end has been such a crapshoot outside of Kelsey. We are basically just trying to find paydown options with upside at this point. I got no other suggestions on how to tackle this position from a DFS perspective. Eifert, I believe, can be that guy this week. 18 targets in his last 4 games. Last week, he was able to find the end zone. That has been absolutely a huge score at the tight end position. That's all you're honestly hoping for. 4 to 5 catches, fall into the end zone. Great success. That literally defines success at tight end. Mike Gesicki, 4,200 on DK, 5,700 on FanDuel. Not the biggest fan of this price, but I don't like the options. They are few and far between. Gesicki does have a great matchup, and that's what the play is absolutely about. The Dolphins have the Bengals this week, who have given up the 5th most points to fantasy tight ends on the year. Gesicki has 19 targets in the last 4 games and found the end zone last week. He's worth the gamble for me. Defense, special teams to wrap this one up. The Giants, plug your nose. 2,200 on FanDuel, on DraftKings, 3,400 on FanDuel. This could end up backfiring, blowing up all my slates, but I can only hope that it ends up being a slate breaker for me. The Seahawks offense has not looked good. Russ has not looked himself. They struggled and gave up a lot of sacks against the lowly Eagles defense last week. And this week they get the Giants, who are much better, much more stout defensively. The Giants actually pressure at a rate that is 5th highest in the National Football League. Pressure, sacks, turnovers, lock me into a TD. That's the only basis I got here. That is all we're looking for, especially at the price point. Finally, Arizona. We'll start this one by saying Arizona is my super lock this week, +3. I gave on the Mayo Experience podcast earlier in the week. I'm 8-4 on my super locks this year. When using the odds checker grid, a lot of the 3s are gone, but there's still a +3 -120 at the Borgata. That is my favorite bet this week, the Arizona Cardinals getting those 3 points at home versus the Rams. I've rostered their defense. This is mainly an anti-Goff play. If Sean McVay doesn't spoon feed him and the rest of this offense, they can't run the ball effectively, it can end up being big trouble for the Rams and Goff this week, in my opinion. He has a tendency to turn the ball over. The Cardinals are 14th in the league per DVOA, so they should be able to hold up against the run to force Goff into some passing situations. The Cardinals pressure at a top half rate in the league. If they can get to Goff, we will be able to force some opportunities, some turnovers, score some fantasy points, and let's cash Arizona +3. I'm Geoff Fienberg. That is it for me. Week 13 in the National Football League for oddschecker.com/US. I will be back next week continuing these breakdowns as we are now in the home stretch of the National Football League season. May the winners be ours.